It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the movies of October 20th, 1995. We got 5 movies to look at today, so let's get right to it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Barry Sonnenfeld's Get Shorty.
In a town known for fame, wealth, and glamour, one honest man has come to Hollywood to make a killing.
My name's Chili Palmer.
Chili's a gangster. Ran a club I used to play at for another gangster back in Miami. How is Momo these days anyway?
Dad, you make movies, huh?
I produce feature motion pictures.
I got an idea for a movie.
Doesn't everybody?
Yesterday you were a loan shark.
Yeah, but I was never that into it.
You think the movie business is any different?
Ray, look at me. Why don't you take a look at that? You must bring something heavy to the deal.
I do. Me.
I think you ought to turn around and go back to Miami.
You're a stuntman, huh?
Yeah.
Any good?
I mean, he's got no respect for us.
That's not bad for a guy his size.
Got a major star interested.
There's
Two-time Academy Award nominee, Martin Weir.
He played the mob guy turned snitch in Cyclone.
Yeah, one of his best parts.
No, well, the best part was when he played the crippled gay guy that climbed out with me.
I guess in your line of work, there's times you have to get kind of rough, huh?
not really.
Have you spoken with Mr. Palmer since your husband blew up?
It says here you're getting Martin Weir for the part of Lovejoy. How are you going to do that?
I'll take a gun, I'm gonna put it to his head. I'm gonna say, sign the papers, Martin, or you're dead. That's it.
I wonder, would that work? John Travolta.
I think you could be an actor. I know you're acting sometimes, but you don't show.
Thought I was faking.
Gene Hackman.
Let me help you. Go ahead. Suck harder.
Rene Russo.
Harry's dreaming of a $40 million production. He'll never get off the ground. With a star, he'll never sign with or without my help.
And Danny DeVito.
Looking at you, I'm having memories of this. I'm wondering, how did it go wrong? How did it all slip away?
Well, it didn't slip away, Martin. You did when you went off with Nikki at my birthday party.
Yeah, that was a good party.
Rough business, this movie business.
Don't you puke on my shoes, Harry.
I may have to go back to loan sharking just to take a rest.
Get Shorty.
Fade out.
So, of course, this is based off of a story by Elmore Leonard, who also wrote Out of Sight, which was also later turned into a great movie. But this is directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, who has already been a prominent name, not just as a cinematographer, having worked with the Coen brothers early in his career, but eventually becoming a director on his own with the Addams Family movies, hitting it right out of the gate with those films. And this helped give him an edge to directing, showing that he can not only direct adaptations of classic TV shows, but he can also direct an original film, kind of like this, a story within a film, I should say, and it really is one of his best films overall, and it really doesn't feel like it. It doesn't really feel like Sonnenfeld's film, honestly. It doesn't really have those cinematography style sequences that were seen in the Addams Family movies and later be seen in the Men in Black films. It feels very different compared to what we see from Sonnenfeld, but it's just one of the great things about this movie is that he's able to make a movie like this that doesn't feel like his normal work, but he has its own unique style that makes it stand out compared to his other works. But the great elements of comedy are very good here. Elmore Leonard's style of writing is very good. The script by Scott Frank is great, who also wrote Out of Sight. He also wrote Minority Report and directed one of the best films from 2014, A Walk Among the Tombstones. And then you got that great cast overall. John Travolta just working so well as Chili Palmer. He nails the role so well. It's a shame he didn't get nominated for this. And I mean, honestly, at the time, I don't think he got a lot of respect for the role he played here. I think this is one of his strongest roles. I think he really fits the role of Chili Palmer so well. Like, he is so good in this. And it also helps if you have a great cast. It also includes Rene Russo, Gene Hackman, Danny DeVito, Dennis Farina, Delroy Lindo, Bette Midler. Just a lot of great names in here. It's a slick, very funny, hilarious satire of the Hollywood film industry. And it's just such a brilliant film. I can watch this movie anytime and just instantly continue to enjoy it every single time. It's a really great movie. It's one of the definitive comedies in the 90s. I don't think I need to say too much more about it. Get Shorty, an amazing film. So, with that said, let's move on to the next movie, and that is the ensemble teen comedy, coming-of-age comedy, I should say, Now and Then.
I know you're in there. Why don't we just play for a minute?
What did you say? Girls can't play softball.
Critics call it the best coming-of-age movie since Stand By Me. Jeffrey Lyons says it will touch you like no other movie this year. Now and Then will steal your heart.
Are you happy? Not really.
Maybe you should integrate color into your wardrobe.
Now and Then, rated PG-13, starts Friday at a theater near you.
So like I said, this is a coming-of-age comedy dramedy, if you will, that you see some of the names in there. You see Rosie O'Donnell, you see Demi Moore, you see Melanie Griffith, you see Rita Wilson, but you also see Christina Ricci in there, Thora Birch, Gabby Hoffman. You also have Hank Azaria, Janine Garofalo, Cloris Leachman, Bonnie Hunt among the people in here. And you just have four women talking about the summer of 1970. It's basically a flashback to the days of the 1970s, where they flash back to when they were teenagers. And this is one of those movies that my sister used to watch all the time, and we had the video for it, and sometimes I would watch it too. And really, honestly, it is a nice little film. It doesn't really do anything different or unique compared to some of the other movies that we talked about in a similar genre, like The Babysitter's Club, those type of movies, but the performances in here really do stand out here, and I think honestly compared to what Demi Moore had to go through in 1995 with the infamous Scarlet Letter, and then later on with stuff like Striptease that didn't do so well. This is probably the best movie that she did in between those two movies that came. Well, that doesn't even make any sense because those are the only two movies she'd been in. But it's one of the movies that I think is very underrated from her, because I think that she has a very good concept of what she's trying to do here. And she's also one of the producers on here. The director of this is Leslie Lincoln Glatter. Yeah, I'm pronouncing that right, but you may not know her, but you've definitely seen her work before. If you've ever seen episodes of Mad Men or Homeland, she's become a prolific television director and I believe this is only one of 4 movies she ever directed in theaters. And I think I, Marlene King is also the same person that made the Pretty Little Liars, the TV series. So there is a lot of talent in here. I think the movie works because of the people that are on screen. They're giving these really solid performances. It doesn't do anything interesting or unique to make it stand out on its own, but it's a nice comfort film movie. I think it works very well because the actresses are working off each other so well. There are a lot of fun moments in there, some good elements of comedy. Not a classic by any means necessary, but it is a lot better than I think a lot of people give it credit for. So if you want to see these actresses really giving their all, definitely check this movie out. I'd say it's a very underrated film, honestly. So that's Now and Then. Let me go ahead and see what the next movie is. The next movie on here is Rebecca De Mornay and Antonio Banderas once again starring in Never Talk to Strangers.
I find you incredibly attractive.
Excuse me?
My name is Tony. Tony Ramirez.
Mr. Ramirez, we're strangers. And I was raised to never talk to strangers.
You never talk to strangers, you'll never make any friends.
Uh-huh.
What are you saying? Say yes. Say yes.
It's hard for me to trust people.
We need more wine.
You're a bad influence.
Socio, be not so in control.
Spent the entire night with a complete stranger.
You look different today. What is it? Your sex life pick up?
I have a feeling nothing bad can happen when you're around.
You think?
I think we should just stop it there because I think you all know what's coming next. And yeah, this is another movie where Rebecca De Mornay really should have thought about finding her agent, because man, this performance was not good at all. Like, the fact that she knew that something shady was going on, but her hormones got the best of her. And Antonio Banderas is Antonio Banderas, so screw it, let's have this relationship. So, because if we didn't, we wouldn't have a movie. And yeah, it's about as bad as you think it is. It's a lazily put together erotic thriller. Not even a clever erotic thriller. Like, Antonio Banderas is just basically doing what is. He's not even trying to hide the fact that he is an evil son of a bitch, and it shows on here. Like, Rebecca De Mornay is playing a very stupid character, a psychologist who you think would be smarter than that. You think she would be, but not in this case. No, and it turns out that she suffers from multiple personality disorder, because you know what? Let's add on a stupid twist to this, because that clearly is going to make this movie a whole lot better. And no, it really does not. And Yeah, this is a terrible movie, bottom line. That's what I'm trying to say here, is that it's a terrible movie. It's a lazy attempt at an erotic thriller, and then to throw that twist in there that makes no sense at all, and tries to make you think that that's the way to make this whole movie plausible. It's just like, get out of here with that. It's just like, it's not a good movie, what I'm trying to say. It's not a good movie. It's a really lackluster film, and they clearly was put together just to capitalize on Antonio Banderas' rising fame and the lowering fame of Rebecca Mornay, because this was coming after Backdraft and The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, and by this point, she wasn't getting a ton of big movie roles, but this is one of those ones, and yeah, like I said, she probably should have thought about firing her agent after making movies like this, so... that's Never Talk to Strangers. So let's move on to the next movie that we have here, and that is Kevin Smith's follow-up to Clerks, and that is Mallrats.
The two of you have so much in common, I think you should date each other.
There is something out there that could use our double lock. Some guys might give up. I love the smell of commerce in the morning. For Brody and TS. Brody man, nitchy. It's Mall or Nothing. Shannon Doe, Jason Lee, with Jay and Silent Bob. Mallrats, rated R. Read the sense of your mom. Start Friday, October 20th at theaters everywhere.
Like I said, Mallrats is the follow-up to Kevin Smith's Clerks, which put him on the map. And right off the bat, you can probably see why this movie did not attract the same amount of success that Clerks did. You probably can see why. It's just like, it just feels like Clerks, except it's taking place in a mall instead of a convenience store. And it literally has a lot of those same beats that Clerks does. Like, you have Jason Lee and Jeremy London in pretty much the same roles that Brian O'Halloran and why am I forgetting his name now? Jeff Anderson. They're pretty much the Dante and Randall of the story, and you have it's pretty much the same concept. You have all these little stories going on but this time there's a much bigger story involved in here, and it does feel like this is more of a mainstream movie compared to Clerks, and I think that was kind of the problem with it at the beginning, and. Kevin Smith, for the longest time, said that this is one of those movies that he regrets making. In fact, he said that Chasing Amy was his apology for making this movie. But as the years have gone on, it has been able to get a cult following over the years. And I will admit, I do enjoy this movie a lot. I do think it is a pretty solid movie. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as Clerks. I think the fact that I think this movie does have more than enough funny moments to recommend it. I think it is a very funny film. You know, Shannon Doherty can be very funny in here. So are Jason Lee and Jeremy London. You got Claire Forlani in here, Ben Affleck, Jason Mewes, Kevin Smith once again, Joey Lauren Adams, Michael Rooker in here, and just it's still a very funny film all around. Stan Lee also is in this as well, and there's still moments in here that I will still laugh at all the time, like the whole subplot about Ethan Suplee's character and this magic eye poster. The payoff at the end where he just gets so upset he screams up in the air and just kicks the magic eye poster. That will still make me laugh all the time. That's still one of the funniest moments in the movie that still holds up after all these years. It's still a funny movie, but it's definitely not as good as Clerks. I think it really suffered because people saw it and it was like, it's basically Clerks in a mall. That's pretty much what it looked like from a lot of people's eyes at first. But, you know, like I said, it has grown to have a following over the years, and I will admit that I have grown to enjoy it more and more in the years since its release. Like I said, I don't think it's as good as the original Clerks, but I think it still is a very enjoyable film. Mallrats, definitely an enjoyable film. If you like Kevin Smith movies, you'll definitely get a kick out of it for sure. So that's Mallrats. Let's move on to the last movie that we have here, and that is the documentary Maya Lin, A Strong Clear Vision.
People to cry.
A young student caught in the crossfire of art and politics.
Obviously, a lot of people are going to be extremely offended.
Her Vietnam memorial helped heal a nation.
You read a name or touch a name, and the pain will come out.
Her work continues to inspire. The Academy Award-winning Maya Lin, A Strong Clear Vision.
So this documentary is basically about the artist Maya Lin, whose best-known work is the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., and you basically have a movie that's talking about the look of is how she created this, the story of the monument itself. But the film became mostly controversial because of the fact that this was around the same time that Hoop Dreams got snubbed for the Academy Awards, and Roger Ebert notoriously called out the people who made the film, the person who made the film, Frida Lee Mock, who was the chair of the documentary committee who makes the nominations, though she stepped aside for that year while Maya Lin was under consideration. and was thus close friends with many of the committee members. And Ebert and Siskel and Ebert publicly apologized to Mock after making the film, saying that they thought it was a good film and deserved to be nominated. But other critics like Janet Maslin maintained that Myelin was a good film, where it was clearly outshone by the documents outshone by documents such as Hoop Dreams and Crumb, both of which were passed up by nominations. And Roger Ebert even said that he did enjoy the film. He said it was not the best documentary of the year, but it is a valuable documentary, and it does look like an intriguing documentary about this, because I never even knew that she was actually the person behind that memorial. You see that memorial all the time in movies. I've never been to Washington, D.C., but I've always been wanting to see it at some point, but I never knew that she was actually involved in that. So I think this could be something that could be a very interesting documentary. But, yeah, I don't really have too much more to say about it because I haven't seen it, unfortunately, so can't really comment on it. But it definitely is a story that sounds promising. Sounds like something I could actually get a chance to check out at some point if I do. I do want to see it at some point, so. So yeah, that's Myelin, A Strong Clear Vision. And so on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next time we meet, we'll take a look at the last 7 films of October 1995, including the controversial Powder, Eddie Murphy's and Wes Craven's Vampire in Brooklyn, Copycat, 3 Wishes, Woody Allen's Mighty Aphrodite, Nicolas Cage's Oscar-winning performance in Leaving Las Vegas, as well as the Doom Generation. So 7 movies to look at next time around, and we'll look at those on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you for watching, I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.